that, say, the Black Bloc causes, or street violence causes, or this craziness that happened in Berkeley a couple of weeks ago in response to the speaker that people didn't want at the UC campus. In terms of, if I understand your other question right, it was about what happens when there's a next terrorist attack in the US and how Trump might take advantage of that. I think it's always a gift. It was a big gift to President George W. Bush when 9/11 happened. Took advantage of it. Violence is something that presidents of the United States love because they understand it. Because they're in charge of the most violent organization in the history of the world, the Pentagon. They hold at their fingertips the capacity to destroy life on Earth, a nuclear arsenal. We're playing their ball game. And that's true of the police chiefs and those who rely on militarized force. And of course, the police forces now more and more are militarized, literally, with Pentagon weapons and so forth. And nonviolent organizing that's assertive can break the negative chain, I think. It's not that it's a cure-all, I think it's part of the mixture we have to avail. The National Green Party, I mean, I think the National Green Party, it's like building a roof and you have never built a foundation, you know. I mean, not only the preposterous things said to conflate Clinton and Trump, and this has been going on. Yes, we're asking about groups that go to the roots, as you put it, and I know there's the latest propagated words is intersectionality, I believe. And you know, my feeling is it's a very big garden we're working in, and there are a lot of different parts of the garden, and analytically, in terms of action, we need the theorists, we need people to take action. Hopefully there's ways to have synergies and work things through, and by some definition, a dialectical relationship between theory and practice. And also I think there's a tendency for us to, well, let me put it this way, I'm asked, you know, what is the one thing that we should all be doing? And my answer is there's not one thing that we should all be doing. It's like a healthy forest. You know, you don't want just one thing, you know? And a vibrant, healthy movement, you know, bread and roses, you want a cultural aspect, you want different aspects. I mean, who's to say that we should be talking only about racism or gender inequality or misogyny or nativism or capitalism? Or this is the unending puzzle that we're all working on. So I feel like there's not going to, and this is potentially a very good thing, there's not going to be only one or two roots that we identify, because we live in such a complex world, and people's interests are different, and people's skills and capacities. And you know, I'd hate to tell people you can only be involved, this is what you're asking about particularly, but you can only be involved if you do X, Y, or Z, because there may be Q and R and S, or we'll think of a different alphabet, you know, to be welcoming. And they're so, just to sort of sum up, the dimensionality is so huge, and some people are academics, God help them, and they want to spend all their time analyzing, you know, and that's probably useful, you know, and so it's part of a broader mix. How are we on time?
Another 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, yes.
Well, I like that metaphor of the garden and the forest. And what happens when we step out of the garden and into the desert? I've had some conversations with a lot of people lately about this unprecedented gap between us and the others, the blue and the red, if you want to call it that. They hate us. They mistrust us. They really don't like us. And I know that from personal experience, and I know it from people I've spoken with. And so my question is, given the fact that the Democratic Party long ago abdicated its responsibility to be in those areas where those people live, to work with them and build an alternative structure that would help to prevent the kind of ideological and cultural chasm that's developed between us. A little while ago you said we shouldn't be speaking truth to power, but about power to each other. But how do we speak about it today?
Well, if I understand right, your metaphor of the garden and then stepping out of the garden to the desert, we would say roughly the desert is where the Trump voters are, is that?
Well, let's not call it that. Let's be a
Okay.
little more charitable and call it the red state,
Uh,
or red
Red states.
United States.
Yeah, well, I think it's very hard for us to untangle the tangle because there's cultural elements, there's religious, there's regional ones. We know that the South went Republican after the Civil Rights Movement, the Southern strategy, and so without the South, Republicans would not be holding Congress in either house. It's based on racism, not entirely, but that's a lot of the legacy and reality. Also thought about, it could evoke many things to different people, but when I thought about the desert, if you take sort of a macro view, what is the ultimate, expectable conclusion of the corporate system where naturally the jobs can go overseas because it's race to the bottom and there's automation as well, and it's all about profit. And you have a society that's organized, the political economy and power out of the government enforced is based on accumulation of profits. So, and the armaments industry and the huge military budget, upwards really of $2 billion a day at minimum. And as I think it was George Wald, the Nobel-winning biologist, said back in 1969, our government is based on death. This is a death government. And one might think that's overly rhetorical, but you can go time and again, different layers where that is true. The budget priorities, the denial of health care, the environmental degradation, the way in which people are dying because of lack of, well, truly education, health care, housing, environmental protection, and the weaponry, and the people who have, there are several 100,000, last figure I saw, 300,000 Americans who've come back with traumatic brain injury from Iraq and Afghanistan, and million+ deaths inflicted in Iraq, and the terrorism of the drone wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and a political economy so much built on the military contractors, and they're not defense contractors, they're military contractors. So, in a way I'm departing from your question, but in a way I'm not. If a society is built on death rather than affirmation of life, and there's not a common set of resources that the New Deal began to set in motion, then it becomes dog eat dog. And I'm fearful that a lot of the Trump constituency is based on the idea of dog eat dog, and that us dogs are not getting our fair share. And that's not a formula for the progressive future we want. Well, let me close in just saying I hope you will be, if you're not already involved with PDA, I hope you will be. And let's keep organizing, and thanks for being here.
So folks, before we turn you loose, coming attractions. We do this every fourth